The sound of sizzling steaks on the grill was deafening, but it didn't overshadow my father's voice, which cut through the noise like a sharp blade. "Hey, Madison," he called, his smirk revealing the trouble he was about to stir. "You're old enough to start paying rent or pack your bags. This isn't a charity. Before we dive into this, drop a comment and tell us where you're from and which city you're watching us from." He paused. "And once you finish the video, let us know what you would do in this situation. Be honest. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every one. Now let's get started." The laughter that followed wasn't only his. My stepmother, Denise, and my younger half-brother, Tyler, joined in. Tyler leaned back in his chair, cracking open another beer as if he'd heard the funniest joke. My grip on the plate tightened, the edges crumpling under my hands. It wasn't just what he said, it was when he said it. He made sure to say it in front of the whole family, with the neighbors gathered in the yard, pretending not to hear, though he wanted them to. He wanted me embarrassed. I set the plate down slowly on the picnic table, forcing myself to keep my voice even. "You've been taking half my paycheck for years, Dad. I've been paying the bills." His face twisted into that exaggerated, mocking shrug he used when making fun of me. "That's life. If you don't like it, find somewhere else to stay." Tyler chuckled quietly. "Good luck with that." The air felt thick with the smell of grilled meat and something darker. Disgust. Betrayal. I could feel the gazes from across the yard. They all assumed I'd stay quiet, maybe cry later in my room. But not this time. I took a step closer to him, close enough that the grill's flickering flames lit up his smirk. "Fine," I said, my voice low and cutting. "You want me out? You'll get your wish." He laughed, waving the tongs at me as if I were nothing more than an annoying fly. "Yeah? And where are you going to go? Back to your crumbling apartment? You don't have any savings, Madison." The rest of the evening blurred into a tense mix of forced smiles and whispered gossip. But in my mind, plans were falling into place. He had no idea what I'd been working on quietly for months. He didn't know I had just gotten the keys to my own house. By the time the barbecue ended, I had made up my mind. I wasn't going to drag it out. If he wanted me gone, I was going to show him how far gone I could be. And when I left, I wouldn't just take my things. I'd take the comfort he thought he had control over. The next morning, I loaded the last box into my car. My hands trembled, not from sadness, but from the excitement of what was to come. I drove to my new place, a small but beautiful 2-story home with white siding and a wraparound porch. The air here smelled fresher. By noon, I had the deed in my name, sitting on the kitchen counter. I sent a short, simple text to my dad. "I've moved out. The bills are now your responsibility." It didn't take long for my phone to light up with his number. I let it ring. Then came another call from Denise. I let that one ring too. By dinner time, I heard a truck pull up outside my new house. I looked out the window and saw my father stepping out, his face pale and jaw clenched. Denise followed, looking as though she had just swallowed something unpleasant. When I stepped onto the porch, he paused at the bottom of the steps. "You're not serious," he said, his voice low. "Rent." I leaned against the railing, arms crossed. "I told you. You said I had to pay rent or leave. I chose to leave. And now," my voice sharpened, "I'll stop paying your bills too." His face went white. Denise's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Tyler's car was behind them, and even he seemed uncomfortable. For the first time in my life, I realized the power I had been handing them all along. And I knew this was just the beginning. The moment they drove off, I stood on my porch and breathed in deeply. Not in relief. No, not yet. It was the first breath in years that didn't feel like I owed someone for the air I was breathing. I didn't waste any time. I went inside, grabbed my laptop, and started cutting the cords they had been feeding off of. Electric bill gone. Gas removed. Internet, water, car insurance, one by one severed. With each confirmation email, I felt a surge of strength. An hour later, my phone lit up again. Dad calling. I let it ring. Then Denise. Then Tyler. I didn't answer a single one. By late afternoon, the group chat was blowing up. "Dad, this isn't funny. Maddie, the Wi-Fi's down. Denise, you can't just shut everything off. That's not how family works. Tyler, hope you're happy. You ruined dinner. I typed one line and sent it. I've moved out. Bills are your responsibility now. Please don't show up uninvited. I thought that would be the end of it, but then I saw their truck pulling up outside my new house. Dad got out first, jaw tight. Denise followed, arms crossed. Tyler didn't even bother getting out of the car. Dad stopped at the bottom of the steps. All right, enough of this stunt. You made your point. Turn the accounts back on for a week while we transition. I met his gaze. Number 1. You've been taking half my paycheck for years. Number 2, you made it clear last night. You wanted me gone. Well, I'm gone. And so is my money. Denise's laugh cracked bitterly. Wow. Cold. No, I said, stepping down to meet them halfway. Cold is laughing at your kid in front of neighbors. This is warm compared to that. Dad opened his mouth, but no words came out. For the first time, I saw something in him I'd never seen before, hesitation. I walked back up the porch. You'll figure it out just like I did. The door clicked shut behind me, and for the first time in years, I realized I was the one holding the lock. The next morning, I woke to a silence I had never known in my father's house. No stomping boots, no blaring TV, no Denise shouting about some misplaced receipt, just peace. I made coffee in my small but bright kitchen, steam rising into the sunlight pouring through the window. For a second, I almost smiled until my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Call us. This is urgent. Dad. The electric's off. Denise. There's food boiling. We need to talk. If you care about this family, you'll fix this today. I set the phone down, refusing to let their chaos ruin my morning. They were just learning what I'd known for years. Bills don't pay themselves. By noon the knock came. 3 sharp raps on my front door. I checked the camera. Just Denise, her face half hidden by sunglasses. I opened the door a crack. What do you want? Her smile was forced, brittle. We need the car insurance in your name for a few more days. Tyler has an interview. I shook my head. I already moved it to my address. It's my policy. If Tyler's driving, he needs his own. Her jaw twitched. You're punishing us. No, I said, leaning against the doorframe. I'm refusing to be punished anymore. She blinked, taken aback by my calm. Your father's furious. You know, he's only like this because he's stressed. The shop closing. That shop closed 3 years ago. I cut in. He's had 3 years to stop leaning on me like a crutch. For a moment, her mask slipped. Her eyes hardened. You'll regret this. Sooner than you think. I shut the door without responding. Later, as I unpacked in my new living room, my phone lit up again, this time with an email from my bank. Suspicious login attempt detected. My stomach tightened. I logged in. Multiple failed password attempts, then something else. A department store credit card that I never applied for had been registered under my name, linked to an address that wasn't mine. It didn't take long to put the pieces together. A year ago, my purse had disappeared from the old house, only to show up 2 days later, seemingly untouched. Or so I thought. Tyler, I printed out every email, every statement, and filed them into a folder with boundaries boldly written on the front. I wasn't just safeguarding myself anymore. I was preparing a case. At midnight, another message from Tyler arrived. You think you're better than us now? Watch your mailbox. I stared at the screen, my anger cooling into something sharper, more controlled. They weren't just losing my money. They were losing their grip on me. And the more they realized it, the messier it would get. The next 2 days were unnervingly quiet. No knocks, no calls, just the occasional sarcastic or subtly threatening text from Tyler. I kept my responses brief, always in writing, as my lawyer had instructed. Every text, every date, every attempt to drag me back in, I saved it all. On the 3rd morning, the silence broke. As I sipped coffee at my kitchen counter, my phone buzzed continuously. Friends and neighbors began sending screenshots. Facebook posts from Denise dripping with that familiar self-pity. Some people think they can just turn their back on family. After everything we've done, they leave us in the dark. Predictable comments followed. Sympathetic mutual friends, distant relatives I hadn't heard from in years, asking what happened. And as always, she left enough out to make the villain anyone. But the most telling part, none of them tagged me. None mentioned my name. They wanted to tell their story without giving me a voice. I didn't bite. Instead, I called the power, water, and internet companies again to confirm that all accounts had been switched to their name. I wasn't giving them an inch of leverage. By noon, the doorbell rang. The camera feed showed Dad standing alone, hands shoved deep in his jacket pockets. I opened the door but remained on the threshold. "What is it?" I asked. His voice was calm, but there was still an edge. "We've got a problem. The mortgage payment is due, and without your transfer." "Not my problem." I cut him before he could finish. His eyes narrowed. "Do you even hear yourself? You've been part of this household for years. You don't just walk away from responsibilities overnight." I laughed, actually laughed, sharp and humorless. "You mean the responsibilities you dumped on me the second I started working? The ones you never asked about, just took?" He stepped closer. "You think this new place makes you better than us? That you can just hide here while we drown?" I stared at him, unblinking. "I'm not hiding, Dad. I'm just done being your lifeline." His jaw clenched as if trying to hold back a dozen unspoken threats. Then he turned to leave, but not before throwing one last jab. "You're going to regret this when you come crawling back." I slowly closed the door, savoring the sound of the lock clicking into place. Crawling back? That wasn't part of my vocabulary anymore. That night, as the sun dipped and the air cooled, I watched their situation crumble in real time. A neighbor from my old street called me. Their voice hushed like we were sharing a secret. "They're out in the driveway arguing, something about the bank account being overdrawn. Denise is yelling that she can't buy groceries, and your dad keeps saying, 'It's your fault.'" I thanked them, hung up, and sat there listening to the weight of their struggles sink in. For the first time, they felt the pressure I'd carried alone for years. The next day, I decided to make it clear that this wasn't just about me leaving. It was about taking back every ounce of control they'd stolen from me. I went to the bank, met with the manager, and closed the last joint account they still had access to. When I walked out, the folder in my bag felt thicker, heavier, more complete. That evening, a message came through from Denise. "You've made your point. We get it. Just help us this month, and we'll figure it out after." I didn't respond. 2 hours later, a public post appeared on her profile. Funny how people change when they think they don't need you anymore. But life has a way of humbling everyone. For once, she was right. Life does humble everyone, and theirs was only just beginning. It was a Saturday morning when the perfect opportunity landed in my lap. I was sipping coffee, scrolling through emails, when one from the mortgage company for my dad's house came through. The subject line read, "Urgent. Past due balance and notice of public auction." I thought it was a mistake at first. I hadn't lived there for weeks and had already removed my name from everything linked to that house. But when I opened it, I realized the bank must have still listed me as an emergency contact from years ago. The letter was blunt. 2 payments missed, no arrangement made, auction date set in 30 days. I stared at the screen. This was it. The moment the universe handed me black and white proof that all their bluster was just smoke. Before, I might have rushed over, drained my account again to save them. But now I hit print and slid the paper into my boundaries folder. By noon, the inevitable happened. The pounding at my door. This time, all 3 of them stood on the porch. Dad red-faced, Denise tight-lipped, and Tyler smirking like he thought he was about to win something. I stepped outside, shutting the door behind me. "You saw the notice. We can't lose the house, Maddie. You're going to help fix this." I folded my arms. "No, I'm not." "You're still family," he shouted, loud enough for the neighbors across the street to hear. I didn't lower my voice. "Family doesn't use you as a wallet. Family doesn't laugh while you're humiliated in front of half the neighborhood. Family doesn't commit fraud in your name and expect you to take it." Denise stepped forward, glancing nervously at the neighbors. "Do you have to make a scene?" "Yes," I replied flatly. "Because you had no problem making one when it suited you," Tyler muttered under his breath. "Unbelievable." I turned to him. "You're right. It is unbelievable that I let this go on for as long as I did." Dad's voice dropped to a quiet, dangerous tone. The one he used when he thought he could still intimidate me. If you walk away from this, you'll be nothing to us. I smiled, but there was no humor in it. Then I'll be nothing to you and everything to myself. I stepped back toward the door, but before going inside, I pulled the foreclosure notice from my folder and held it up for them to see. This, I said, my voice cutting through the air, is what happens when the person you've been draining finally stops bleeding for you. Then I let it fall to the porch at their feet and closed the door behind me with a satisfying click. Through the blinds, I watched them stand there, Dad frozen, Denise avoiding the neighbors' gazes, Tyler kicking the paper like it might bite him. They left without saying another word. That evening, I posted a single, vague line on my social media. Sometimes the best gift you can give someone is the chance to stand on their own 2 feet. Comments flooded in, people asking if I had finally moved, congratulating me on my new place, sending their support. Not once did I mention their names. I didn't need to. The truth was, their downfall wasn't my story to tell anymore. It was theirs to live. And I was finally free to live mine.